Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a highlight and contour video. So this will be a pretty in-depth video of how I contour and highlight. We will start with creams and then we will go into powders. I already have my foundation and eye makeup on, so let's get started. For the video, I will be doing this side of my face in high-end and this side of my face in affordable products. That way you guys can get a variety of products to choose from. So the reason we highlight and contour is to show dimension in the face. So it is to bring things forward and then also bring things back. So it's going to cut your cheekbones, your nose is going to be snatched, you're going to be brighter in certain areas. So it's all about just adding depth into the face. So right now we just have foundation on, and as you guys can see, I look very flat and kind of just dull. But once we add the highlight and the contour, you guys will see that it can really change the shape of your face. For this side of my face, which is the high-end side, I will be using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in order to highlight. So we're just going under here, taking it down and pretty much drawing a triangle shape and then filling it in. So what we're going to do is just make sure that this concealer is all the way in here, because what's going to happen is it's going to make the nose appear smaller than it is. So just take this, go down here, draw the triangle, and then fill it in. So now we have that area highlighted. Now the next place that you want to highlight is your forehead. Now if you have a big forehead, you can go minimal on the highlight. You don't need to highlight this entire area because it's going to bring attention to your forehead. So for me, I think I have probably a medium-sized forehead, so I only highlight probably right in this area. And I'm just going to draw a little triangle up there, and that is where we will highlight for the forehead. Highlight around my mouth, and then also on my chin. So I highlight around my mouth because I have discoloration around my mouth. It's not always necessary to highlight around your mouth because some people don't have discoloration or they just don't feel like this area needs to be highlighted. But personally, I have some dark areas that I want to bring light to, so we're just going to highlight in this area. The next thing we're going to highlight is the nose. So we're just going down the bridge of our nose. For the more affordable product side, I'm going to go in with this black Opal Total Coverage Concealer. I'm just putting some of this on the back of my hand and I'm grabbing a brush, and we're going to just go in with the same exact technique. So again, we're going under the eyes, drawing it here, here, as a triangle, taking some on our forehead to highlight that area, the bridge of our nose, and also around the mouth and on our chin. When it comes to picking a shade for your highlighted areas, you want to go 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. And this is because you are attracting light to it. So you don't want to put your foundation shade because it's all just going to blend in. You want something that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation. That way you really can see a dramatic difference. And just keep in mind when highlighting, no matter what, you are bringing attention to it. Now on to contouring. When contouring, you want to make sure that you go in with 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation. Now, there is a theory that when contouring, you have to use a ashy toned color. I personally don't believe in that. I feel like whatever your undertone is in your face, that is the shade that you need to go for. If you have a warm undertone, naturally, putting something ashy on your face is not going to do it justice. It's going to make it look muddy and just not cute. So personally, I just think that whatever fits your face, and if you like the way it looks, pick that undertone. You can go with something that is warm, so more orangey, or something that is more ashy tone, but ultimately do what makes you look good. Don't follow the standard that you have to have an ashy toned contour shade. It's not always necessary. Personally, I like more warm toned shades. ABH contour palette, this shade is pretty warm, and then this shade right here is pretty ashy. So in order to get a perfect shade, I mix both of these shades. I am starting from the tip of my ear all the way down. This area right here is typically where you want to contour. You can do the kissy face, that face right there, but also you can just follow this area of your ear all the way down, and that will act as your contour. So I'm just going here and going down. And you always want to start here because you want this to be the darkest and then it to fade in gradually. Again, with contouring and highlighting is going to bring attention to it. Contouring is going to bring it back. So I have pretty fat cheeks, so I always contour, and I always like to make sure I cut it and I bring it all the way down here because I want my cheeks to be nice and defined. When you move on to the forehead, you want to contour these outer perimeters because it's going to make your forehead appear to be smaller. Okay, so I am taking my contour all through here. On the temples, and then also on the edges of my forehead. That way this part can come back and then this part can come forward, making my forehead look a lot smaller. Lastly, when contouring, you want to make sure you get your chin. Personally, I have a little extra flab that I don't really like down here, so I want to make sure that I contour that right under my chin and just blending this down here. So when you look at it, it kind of gives it the shape of a 3. So 1, 2, and 3. For the more affordable side of my face, I will be using the e.l.f. foundation palette in order to contour. Now this is in the shade medium dark. I'm taking these last 2 dark shades, blending them together and contouring. This palette is only $6 and it's very comparable to the ABH Cream Contour palette. Just make sure you get the shade that is dark enough for you. I am going from the top of the ear down, and now on the forehead, and we're bringing it here all the way down. Now that our face is contoured, I want to move on to the nose. Foundation palette, I'm going to go straight down on the sides of the nose, and I'm going to go back in with my ABH contour palette and go on this side. So now that we have everything on our face and we've highlighted and we've contoured and we're looking a little crazy, we are just going to blend everything out. So I'm just taking my e.l.f. brush that I used beforehand, and I am just blending this down and blending everything out. Time to set all of this cream products that we have on our face. Setting on the high end side, I'm going to be using the infamous Laura Mercier setting powder. This is my favorite setting powder. I really honestly think nothing compares. Like, the money is definitely worth it on this. It's just amazing and it makes my face look absolutely flawless. But a great alternative is the Maybelline setting powder. This is the one that they recently came out with. It's really good. It's definitely not the Laura Mercier setting powder, but if you are on a budget and you want to look cute though, girl, I would go and get the Maybelline setting powder. So personally, I do not bake my highlighted areas, which is where you apply a ton of powder on your face and then you let it sit for a while. I don't do that because I have dry skin and I find that it just clings on to my dry patches. So I'm just going to take this Laura Mercier setting powder and I am just dipping right into here and just setting my highlighted areas and just tapping this in. And we do this in order for our cream products to stay in place. If we just walked out the door like this, our face would be slipping and sliding all day and we don't want that. So I'm just taking this and making sure that everything is nice and set. And the reason I'm tapping is because I don't want to mess up any of the cream products that we just did. Now I'm going in with the Maybelline powder and setting the affordable side. Go in to apply my bronzer. I don't want it to be patchy, so I want everything to be set. That way, when we go in with our powders, everything blends nice and smoothly. So I'm just taking more Laura Mercier powder and just lightly dusting over my contour so that way the entire face is set. Now going in with the Maybelline powder, a light layer, and just making sure that everything is nice and set. For my high end side, I'm going in with the Tarte contour palette. This is the one that Tarte collaborated with Makeup Shayla, and I'm taking these bottom 2 shades in order to reinforce my contour. and going right in those contoured areas. And all this is doing is just setting my cream contour and then reinforcing it. So under here. Now for the more affordable side, I recommend two products. The LA Girl Pressed Powder, and then also the Wet n Wild Contour Palette, which is a new gem that I discovered in my last video, which is amazing, and I'm going to use this one today. But when contouring, when powder contouring, you really can just find any powder that is 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation. That will work fine. You don't have to have a specific contouring powder. They all do the same. You just need a powder that is 2 to 3 shades darker than your foundation. Also, when contouring and highlighting, you do not have to do the cream part of it. You could just go in with concealer for your highlighted areas and then set your face and then go in with powder contour. You do not have to cream contour as well. I'm just extra and that's what I do. I am taking a more precise brush and just going in back in with that Wet n Wild contour powder and contouring our nose. And then make sure everything is blended. We do not want railroad tracks or anything like that lines on our face. So that is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. Keep in mind, this is how I contour and highlight. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.
With bits.